Welcome everyone. Today's video is on cubes and cube roots. So title your notes. And first we'll talk about the volume of a cube. In order to find the volume of a cube, you multiply the side times the side times the side, which could be written as side cubed because we're taking the side, and multiplying it by itself 3 times. So if we take a look at this cube here, we have a 5 by 5 by 5 cube, meaning the height is 5, the width is 5, and the length is 5. So by definition it's a cube because all those numbers are equal. So in order to get the volume, we would multiply 5 times 5 times 5, which we could write as 5 cubed, and that would equal 125. Now notice I put units cubed, units because we don't know what we're measuring with, and cubed because we're talking about volume. So 5 cubed equals 125. It's a perfect cube if you can take that many 1 by 1 by 1 unit cubes and form them into a cube. I can't demonstrate this on here because this is two-dimensional and we're talking about a three-dimensional figure here. But if you picture in class how you took the 1 by 1 by 1 unit cubes and stacked them up until you made a bigger cube, every time you made that bigger cube, that was a perfect cube right there. Okay, so now let's talk about the opposite of that, which would be a cube root. The symbol looks like this. The number that you're taking the cube root of would be on the inside, so let's say it's the cube root of 8. It would look like that. Notice you still have that check mark symbol, but now we have a 3, meaning the cube root, and then the numbers on the inside. When a number is a perfect cube, the side length of the cube it forms is called its cube root. What that's saying is if you have the cube root, that's just the inverse of finding the cube. So let's take a look at a few examples here. We have our numbers, we're going to figure out the cube, and then we'll figure out the cube root. So if my first number is 1, let's figure out the cube. 1 cubed would mean 1 times itself 3 times. So 1 times 1 times 1 would equal 1. Now the cube root is just the inverse of the cube, so it's undoing what we just did, so we go back to that original number, which is 1. Or you ask yourself, what times itself 3 times equals 1? In this case, it's 1. For the next one, 2. 2 cubed would mean 2 times itself 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2, which would equal 8. The cube root of 8 is just the inverse, so undo that. What times itself 3 times equals 8? Well, 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. The next example is 3. 3 cubed means 3 times 3 times 3, which would be 27. And the cube root of 27, just the inverse of that, would mean what times itself 3 times equals 27? That would be 3. And the last one, 4. 4 cubed means 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. And if we take the cube root of that, what times itself 3 times equals 64? That would be 4. So that's all on cubes and cube roots. Bye guys.